Hi everyone and welcome back to One Autistic Person. This is the 22nd video in a 50 video series that I'm doing going through the statements and questions of the Autism Quotient, which is a diagnostic questionnaire that is used as part of the diagnosis and assessment process for autism. It's a pre-screening questionnaire. And it's often used as part of the initial process of going through the assessment process. So as I was having my autism assessment, I realised that the whole process requires them to look at statements like these as a deficit. And I thought it'd be quite nice to go through these and see whether there are benefits rather than deficits, whether there are positives rather than negatives. And if we can't find anything that's positive or negative in the situation, can we put mitigations or adjustments in place for it? This one is a bit of a strange one for me because I don't find it negative or positive, and I don't really have a mitigation or an adjustment for it because I don't feel the need to personally. So this one is going to be really more coming from how I see things and how I feel about it, and kind of just saying to people, if this is the way you feel, this is okay, because I feel healthy and I feel the way that I am for my brain, for my way of life. It really is, this is really positive for my mental health to be in this, and I don't require or want anything more than what I've got. But I'd also love to hear from people who where it's different for them, and where people have worked to change that thought process if that's what they've wanted to do. So the statement is, I find it hard to make new friends. Now, for me, that's definitely agree. And there's various reasons for that. I don't really go into any situations where I could potentially make new friends, for instance. So my social interactions are very much what is a required social interaction. And it's mainly more that I go out into the world if I absolutely have to. I'm quite happy living my life without having to go to places where I could potentially meet people. I don't go to bars. I don't go out to places where I would have to build friendships. And I don't really speak that much to people online. I do have some interaction with people online, but I do find that quite an easy way of being able to talk to people. I wouldn't consider those people friends. Now, I consider the fact that I only really truly have one friend, and that's always been the case throughout my life. You know, I've had one friend, and maybe an additional person who's kind of like an extended person within my family, which might be a partner if I've had a partner. It might be my housemate as it is at the moment. Or it could be a friend of my mum's who I was friends with, who I kind of saw as part of my extended family, and then my mum. They're kind of the three people in my life that have always been part of what I can do. It's kind of all I can deal with. And it's kind of become a routine for me that's all I can deal with. And I kind of can't let anybody else in and compartmentalise them into anywhere if it's more than that. So I can't juggle friendships. I find it very, very difficult to be able to juggle friendships, and I often have very deep friendship with somebody that lasts a long time. You know, the previous friendship that I had lasted like 17 years, 16 years. And we just grew apart. Basically, our lives changed, and it just was that neither of us really felt it anymore. So we kind of grew apart, and that's what's tended to happen. And my current best friend actually was somebody who came from a work environment, which is really unusual for me because I very much compartmentalise work. I do not see work people as friends, and I see like I can't become friends with them. And with my best friend, there was a friendship happening there without it being a friendship, or we didn't exchange phone numbers. I had his number because I was his line manager, and he had my work number, and we only communicated regarding work. We never communicated regarding anything other than work. But you can feel when you've got things in common, and there was obviously between me and my friend there was also the neurodivergency situation. He was neurodivergent, was diagnosed with one thing, and looking at options for other areas of neurodivergency. And I was aware of the fact by this point that I probably was. I was just not ready to go through the diagnosis process, but I was aware of it and sort of getting my head around it. So we then became friends after. So the day I left, I said that this is my private number, and then we became friends afterwards, and have been close friends and speak 2 or 3 times a week at least now, which for me is a lot to talk to somebody. Probably more than that, actually. I probably speak to him near enough every day most weeks. Some weeks maybe a little bit less, but but like I say, I've always only had that capacity to be able to do that. I find juggling 3 people is complex enough, and juggle and then work. So so juggling those people, I feel very deeply about all of them, but I couldn't juggle anymore, and I don't. And I also want to give everybody the out of those 3 people that are important to me, that they take up a lot of my energy. So socializing with any of those 3 people take up a lot of my energy, but I want to give them that energy, and I want to give them the full amount of energy that I possibly can, while giving myself what I need socially, and I feel that works for me. So I don't feel the necessity. I don't feel like I'm lacking because of the fact that I don't have a bigger group of people in my life. It's not a necessity to me at all. Quite the opposite. I think it would actually be not beneficial to me to have more people in my life, because my mental health would really suffer from that. And so I don't feel the need for it to be bigger. So, but I know a lot of people feel very isolated. A lot of autistic people feel very isolated because they struggle to make new friends or to sustain friendships and things like that. And that can often be for various reasons. It can be that we communicate differently, and people don't always understand the way that we communicate. Especially when it comes to texting and things like that. So people text, and then you won't necessarily think to text back, and you think you've said enough and you haven't said enough, but then you have all of the other social situations, not reading social cues, and maybe either not responding or responding too much, and all of the things that we go through in our minds every single day as autistic people making new friends extremely difficult. And I think it's that we feel safe with the people around us, or as safe as possible with the people around us, and the reason why we've kept them in our lives is because of the fact that they make us feel safe, in a world where we often feel very unsafe. So I would be interested to see how people do manage this, both from if you actually like having a big group of friends and want to make new friends, because I know that there are autistic people out there that love making new friends, that actually interacting with people is a special interest for people, that it's a deep rooted thing that people love, and actually socializing it's kind of become a special interest for people, which is great, and that's fantastic for people. I personally cannot understand it, but it's great that's the way for people. Some people do feel around their autism, and how autism can actually be beneficial to that. I think because I imagine you study the way that people interact, and you enjoy doing that, which is great. But also how when people have really struggled with it, but have wanted to, how have you got round that? What have you done to be able to do that, and sort of take care of yourself at the same time? I'd be interested to hear that. Like I say, for me personally, I don't require that. I'm quite happy where I am, so making new friends for me isn't a problem, and I can quite easily go without having a friend if one disappeared for a while. If one of those people disappeared, apart from my mum, obviously I can't replace my mum, but if other people sort of disappear in my life, then I can wait until I find the right person. So I'm okay with that. As I've said in another video, I am very okay with my own company, and I'll find ways of communicating with people if I need to, who are not necessarily my friends. Like I say, I can do that online and that type of thing. So, and I've got doing these videos, which is, I know it's not talking back to me, but it is allowing me to be able to voice things. So yeah, as always, I'd love it if people could comment. Like I say, this one, it'd be great if you really could, because I'd love to hear how people, this fascinates me, how people who are autistic make friends, because of how much of a difficulty I find with it. So I'd love to hear your stories, and the way that you've seen this as a positive rather than a negative, and or any adjustments or mitigations you put in place. So thank you very much. If you could do all of those algorithm great things, I would love that. If you could subscribe, share, obviously, like I say, comment and like, that would be perfect. I would be forever grateful. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you on the next one. Thank you. Bye.